Hi there, I'm Natan of WildMatters, and in the video of today I'm going to talk about large carnivores. Why it's so difficult to coexist with large carnivores? Why it's so difficult to accept from a social viewpoint their presence in our ecosystems, even though they are keystone species, and so they are so relevant inside our ecosystems to enable an effect that is called trophic cascade to regulate the number of herbivores on a territory and to enable all the ecosystem to thrive. I'm here in my apartment in Bridge of Allan, and I'm in a country, Scotland, that is a leader in the rewilding movement. And even though Scotland is a leader in the rewilding movement, it is so difficult to bring back in this country wolves and lynx and other large carnivores. And I think that the answer is not in the polarization between from one side farmers and the other side environmentalists. It is something that is more related to our deep psychology. As a matter of fact, we are so scared about the presence of animals with fangs and claws that are so powerful and mighty. Why it is so? First of all, it's obvious because they are mighty and powerful, but there is something more. We are a prey species. We are not the top predator that we always thought to be in our evolutionary history. For most of our evolutionary history, we have been also, if not mainly, a prey species, and we've been preyed by other, more powerful animals for thousands of years. And this fact has shaped our mentality. And we are not different from seagulls, deer, wildebeest and other animals when it comes to react against an action of predation. That's why the famous expert of animal behavior, Hans Crook, wrote in his book Hunter and Hunted something like our psychology, it is not different from the psychology of other prey species. And in his work he compared the behavior of several animals with our behavior. For example, there are elements that we have in common. First of all, in front of an imminent attack we can react easily with fear and escape. Secondly, the second category of possible reaction is aggression and attack in order to get rid of and put as far away as possible the danger from us. And thirdly, the sense of curiosity. Every prey species have a sense of curiosity, the same sense of curiosity that push certain animal to observe for a long instance the predation on one of their own species, one member of their own species. So this feeling of that is kind of a gruesome feeling of observation and attraction towards something that is so violent, it is something related to our biology. That's why probably we are so attracted also by large predators, not only because in the action of predation of for example hyenas in the savanna environment we can see simultaneously applied two kind of feelings, two kind of emotions in which we can easily represent. We can feel the effect of predation, we can represent and feel ourselves both in the role of the predator, let's put the hyenas, and both in the role of the prey, for example zebras. Why it is so? Because we have been for a lot of time both a prey species and both a species that were used to hunt other species. So our psychology is a lot shaped by this kind of animal behavior. That's why it is so difficult to not misbehave in front of several animals that are so mighty and powerful. For example, a lot of people can complain that even though we study a lot of books about the proper behavior to undertake in front of a brown bear, we used to run, punch the bear, try to climb a tree or something like that, even though we know that is totally wrong. But why we do so? We do so because our biology prevails on our knowledge. and we tend to react in the same way we will have react in other contexts along our evolutionary history. Are these more instinctive reaction wrong? For example, escaping or fighting back? No, they are not wrong, but simply now we know better. We know definitely better because we know more about the proper behavior of other animals. We know this kind of behaviors because we have the possibility to study them in a more scientific way, collecting data and creating statistics. That's why we know something better, in which, for example, about the way in which we should behave with grizzly bears. But this is only a part of the problem. The other part of the problem is the common psychosis that we can witness when it is about to bring back certain species. And the problem is that we are also a cultural species, and our cultural behavior is not different from curiosity, because we are attracted and so we create narratives. As well, we create movies that talk about man-eaters. We can create also narratives that say exactly the contrary, but for sure it's much easier to create narratives that will only reinforce our fears. That's why certain movies are so successful, not only because they are good movies, but most of all because they are based on our deepest fears. But we can also do something else, something better with our culture and our curiosity. We can study animals even more than what we have done, and also create more channel of information. And so we can also try to regulate more and give a sense to our fears. And once that we accept our biological limits and we accept that we can be afraid, then we have to educate ourselves to coexist also with these feelings and to make something more interesting of these feelings. For example, to accept the sense of wonder, the sense of ecological realization, and also the sense of adrenaline that sharing the landscape with animals that are so mighty can give us. So I think that most of all we have not to underestimate the level of fear that is spread worldwide among people, because it is not something that is only related to culture. It's not only the tale of the bad wolf that should be totally reframed, but we have also to understand that a minimum, a baseline, a bedrock of fear, it is normal in our biology, in our psychology, and we have not to get rid of this fear, because a world entirely without fear will be a world much poorer in feelings, because in a certain sense the very idea of the presence of these mighty animals can redimension us and give us a much more significant sense of belonging to a place, of being part of something that is bigger than us. And we will start to look again at the ecosystems like something wild, untamed, and not only something that we can collect, can control, and can organize. That's the secret of large carnivores. That's why we are scared of them, and that's why the very fact that we are scared of them can be also a positive element in our social and our psychological development, because we need to coexist with fear, we need to know fear, but most of all we need to know the otherness, because if we want to coexist with something that scares us, we have to believe that there is something that we can do, and there is something that we can always do, because we tend to be scared most of all not by claws and fangs, but more specifically we are scared by far by the things that we don't know. That's why darkness is totally something that scares us in such a deep way, because darkness represents basically the unknown, and we are scared by the unknown. That's why we need to know better. And if we will be able to coexist with wild animals, and if we will be able to coexist with powerful animals, then this will be a proof that we can coexist also with the member of our own species in a better way, in a way that is based on the understanding, on the acceptance of certain uncertainties, but most of all on the will to share and not to neglect, not to deny the existence of the otherness. Thank you very much for the patience. I truly hope that my English was understandable. I will try to improve it in this permanence here in Scotland, and I hope that this video has been useful for you. If you have liked it, you can share it, or you can put a like below, and if you want, you can simply comment. I will appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much again. Cheers.